Happy Hour.
And now for something completely different. And now for something completely different.
What's up? This is Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, and I am here at the chill room of Pinellas Park, thanks to Frank the Kava OG for allowing us to record here. And I've known this guy for about a year and a half now, and we've traveled at many different Kava bars across the Bay Area to hang out. I'm here with Richard. What's happening, man?
Hey, Hoppe. How's it going? Thanks for having me here today. Really appreciate it.
And how do you say your last name?
Solorzano.
That is a good last name.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been both a blessing and a curse, I can tell you that.
So your whole life you've worked at corporate jobs, and you got a lot of exciting things happening where it's a lot less corporate. But I know you said to me off air one time that it paid your bills and helped feed your family. What was it like? What's it been like doing corporate jobs pretty much your whole life?
Yeah, this is a great question. It's been a mixed bag for sure. I mean, I've learned a lot. I've gotten a lot of skills. It's really helped me raise my family, and it's fed my kids and all that good stuff. But I'm getting to the point in my life. I'm ready for what's next, and I'm very, very passionate about Kava and Kratom. It's something that I believed in for quite some time now, and I'm really kind of moving my business model into that area.
So we'll get to Kava and Kratom in a second because there's plenty that needs to be defended. And I don't even like using the word defended because I feel like it implies there's something wrong with it. But first, I want the audience to get to know you and that. So how long have you been in Tampa Bay and where did you grow up?
So I was born and raised in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I moved to Tampa Bay in 2016. I'd been working all over the country in a bunch of different fields. I was in the Navy until 2000, and I got out. Worked for places like Intel. Went into some medical device stuff. Been doing that for quite some time, and it's been great. It really has been great. And honestly, I really love the Tampa area. I moved all the way from Portland, Oregon down, and I ended up in Tampa, and many stops in between. And it's been quite an adventure. And honestly, I'd have to say the Tampa area is my favorite, across the country so far.
You can be honest with me. What is Portland like? Is there any part of it that's good? Because from what I've seen, Seattle seems cooler than Portland.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Portland, I was up there, let's say around 2001, 2002. So it's changed quite a bit since I was up there. I liked it. I really liked the area. The Pacific Northwest is fantastic. I mean, if you've never been up there, the forests and whatnot are just amazing. If you like to hike, those types of things, it's great. But as compared to Seattle, I would have to agree. Seattle's a little bit more of an exciting city. I've been a professional musician for my entire adult life, and I've played, in bands both in Portland and Seattle. And Portland has got a good music scene, but honestly, Seattle's iconic for a reason. It's a really cool place.
I know the grunge rock scene comes from Seattle. Was that the type of genre you used?
Absolutely. Yeah, I graduated in '94. So, Nirvana, the whole grunge thing was what I kind of grew up on. And it was kind of a trip to Mecca to live up in the Northwest for a while.
I don't dislike rock music, but to me, grunge is like my favorite. I'm not big into like the 70s and 80s wild hair. The 90s to me was like the realest rock.
I can't agree more. I'm not, I do like some older stuff. I'm more into 70s rock, like Led Zeppelin and early Rush and that kind of stuff. 80s kind of dropped off for me a little bit, but yeah, 90s when Nirvana dropped Nevermind, that is when, the entire genre changed, and really the pendulum swung back to, more. I'm a drummer, so a lot of the '80s were synthetic drums and things like that. Things started kind of swinging back in that grunge era, and it was really something that I was happy to see for sure.
Now, what do you think would have happened if Kurt Cobain never died? Would Nirvana have sold out? Would they have been better than ever? I often think about this a lot, especially with a lot of the people on the 27 Club.
Yeah, I can. That's a really interesting question. I got to say, though I don't, I don't condone suicide or anything like that. It would be kind of rough to see Kurt Cobain, in his late 40s, kind of chubbed out. I mean, we all saw what happened to Guns N' Roses and things like that, right?
Neil, right?
Yeah, and Poison and whatnot. So it would be kind of depressing to see that happen to somebody like him. But honestly, it would be interesting. But I got to say, I think that they had peaked, and they probably. They didn't end. I don't want to say they ended on a good note, but certainly they ended in a way that made them immortal. Quite frankly.
Now, what do you think about Foo Fighters?
Foo Fighters, great band. Their drummer, the drummer for Nirvana, is something that I always thought he was kind of just a bit basic, but it turns out he is just an amazing songwriter, and he just came out and killed it with Foo Fighters. So yeah, I think they're a great band. They're also great guys from what I hear. They bring people up, they have beers with them and stuff like that. So yeah, I think they're pretty good. Honestly, not Nirvana's caliber, but certainly cool.
Now, I still drink from time to time, but from about 20 to 28, 29, I used to drink really hard.
Yeah.
And I wasn't drinking every day, but when it was time to go to a party, I was pre-gaming before leaving the house, having 5 beers, maybe a bottle of wine. I drank a lot. And there was a time when I lived in Cleveland, and I don't remember anything of it because I was blackout every time I drank. I was just 21. I was working on a big radio show, so I was partying all the time. Now, for you, you lived in Seattle, which seems like a party town. And I know now that a lot of times it's not everybody that drinks Kava and Kratom, but it comes from people that are trying to quit drinking. So what was your relationship like with alcohol?
That's an outstanding question. In fact, it was what the primary driver for me to go to Kava and Kratom. So I was in the Navy at 20 years old. Military folks, I don't know if you know this, but we tend to drink a lot.
Yeah.
And I got into a really bad problem with alcohol at that time, and I was drinking a ton at that time.
What are you drinking?
Mostly rum. I was more of a rum guy. I really like rum and tequila. Those are my two big drinks for sure.
Man, that just makes me too confident.
It totally has an issue with that. But you could get into like some really top shelf tequilas. They've got a lot of different grades, and it was one of my favorites. But I'm not a huge fan of alcohol. It has cost me a lot in my life.
Me too. Me too.
It really has. And I drank a ton up until about 2017. I was drinking daily, and it got to a point where it was just getting to be a problem. And I was hungover all the time.
Yeah.
I had issues at work. I mean, things were just not clicking for me, especially as I was getting older. And one day I was vaping at the time. And one day I stopped at a vape store, and I got they had this Kava and Kratom kind of thing going on, and I said, I'll give it a try. And I really like Kratom, and I started drinking green Kratom. And over time, as that went from days to weeks to months, I noticed that just naturally my alcohol consumption started to decrease. I wasn't even trying. And honestly, I've tried a lot of different stuff to get off alcohol. I've tried hypnosis, I've tried AA, I've tried medication, I've tried a bunch of stuff, and none of it really seemed to take. And the only thing that really worked for me is Kratom. And I just started, and I noticed because, I would drink one of those, those big giant bottles of rum. I don't know, I think it's like a liter or something like that. Well, I would be drinking one of those like every 3 days. And as I was drinking Kratom, I just noticed that the bottle was more and more full every time I took a look at it to have a drink. And it just happened organically. And I was like, wow, there's really something to this. And then, kind of stretch it down the timeline a little bit. I haven't completely, quit drinking. I mean, I really think that, if you have to stay away from alcohol, it's still controlling your life in just a different way.
Yeah.
And so I haven't completely quit drinking, but I'll have maybe a glass of wine or two a month, and that's about it. And I have really Kratom to thank for that.
I drank, the red Solo cups.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had 3 cups of margarita mix from Aldi's about 3 weeks ago, and I felt great, and it was fun.
Right.
And I was drinking at my house, and a girl came over, and everything was good. But I've noticed when it comes to alcohol, it gives me there's 2 problems with drinking. Liquid confidence. And then when I get really drunk, I text people, and it's not even sliding in DMs.
Yeah.
I get over lovey, where I would text my family and be like, I love you so much.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I get it.
And then the third thing, the biggest problem, The thing I love about kratom and kava is it takes away my appetite, where I've lost weight since drinking that because I'll eat once or twice a day, but it suppresses my appetite in a healthy way. With alcohol, especially if I'm drinking beer, if I'm in downtown St. Pete, I want to go to Joey Brooklyn's and eat a whole box of pizza.
Right.
I want to eat chicken wings. I want to eat Taco Bell. And that to me is the worst part, is it's empty calories, so that when you're drinking my appetite, dude, is gross when I'm drunk.
I get it. I'm the same way. I've had problems with, my weight, for my entire life. And I've lost, I'm up to about 50 pounds
really
now.
Good.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And a lot of that was to do with just me not quitting, but absolutely reducing my alcohol consumption about 90%. I mean, there's so many empty calories in alcohol. It's just another of just the plethora of reasons that alcohol, I feel, is probably the most dangerous drug available today.
So what do you have going on in your life right now? You're a very busy guy.
No, thank you. I'm working for a company right now. I'm doing some corporate work on the side, but my passion is to, I was really into the kava kratom scene for a long time. I've gone to several, kava kratom bars, and I started looking at it and I started thinking about, why not me? I mean, these places are doing pretty well. I really believe in the product. I've never believed in a product like this before in my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting tired of the corporate world. I'm looking for what's next. And this, it kind of dropped in my lap. I met my business partner sitting next to me, Rich.
Yeah, Rich, yeah.
He and I used to go to a kava bar, and we just kind of talked about it for a while, and said, hey, you know what? Maybe we should think about, buying one of these places. And, everybody BS's like that over time. But after, about a year or so of talking about that, we said, let's give this a shot. And then we met Justin Durheimer, who's the owner of the Strange Cloudz brand. And it's one of the most popular brands in South Florida for kava and kratom. And he was looking into franchising his business. He had not done it yet. So he was looking to do something new. Rich and I were looking to do something new. We kind of sat down, we hashed it all out, and we became the first franchisees for Strange Cloudz. So Strange Cloudz, just to give you a little bit of background on that, we have 3 different locations here in the Tampa area. We've got one in Palm Harbor. We've got one in kind of the Pinellas Park area and one in St. Petersburg. The one that Rich and I are opening is going to be Dunedin Clearwater. So
nice.
Yeah, so it's going to be on 580 and Belcher right on that border of Dunedin Clearwater. So right by Countryside Mall across 19. And it's been really a journey trying to get this place open.
Oh, I've heard.
Oh man, yeah, you've definitely heard. We've discussed several times, but we're still we're making forward progress. We still got a few things to do, but we're kind of aiming for a mid-July opening right now. But all that being said, I wanted to put my money where my mouth is. I wanted to say, look, I have this huge belief in kava and kratom. It's helped me so much. And I've seen especially with my veteran friends, younger than me, dying of alcohol poisoning, dying of cirrhosis, dying of, really just slow suicide by alcohol. And how many people can we help? I mean, how many people can have an experience like me, and really kind of turn away from something that's taking you down a really, really bad path that's going to shorten your life by a considerable amount. And that's really what, the stars kind of aligned in this way. And that's why I'm here today.
What's up, Rich?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. So there have been a lot of haters of kava and kratom. And I know you guys have fought a lot of uphill battles when it comes to opening up the shop. What do you want to say to the people that maybe read some lame newspaper's article or read something online that's so against kava and kratom? Because a lot of people are going to listen to this interview and they're going to Google kratom, and there's articles from the Mayo Clinic, WebMD, Reddit. There's not one good thing about kratom online when kratom's the best thing ever.
I think part of it is because a lot of it is the government. The government is against it, and one of the reasons why is they got a lot of the big pharma companies behind them because
Yes.
they don't want you taking over it. Now, unlike my partner here, I do kratom for a completely different reason. One is because of pain management. And in my case, I was doing Advil and Tylenol and even Oxys whenever I can get my hands on it. So I do it more for the pain management. Green kratom works wonders for and red as well, wonders for pain management, and it's way better than doing pills every single day.
Red's very relaxing as well.
Yes. You just take whichever color you want that meets your needs, and green and red both, they do well for pain management. It's a completely natural plant, and it's a natural alternative to pain management. So, and I rarely touch Tylenol and ibuprofen and everything else to this day.
Now, right now, I don't know which date it is, but it's June 22nd, 23rd-ish, 2024. Where do you want to see the company on June 23rd, 2025?
Ours?
Yes.
Yes, we want to be open and having a good time and hanging out and helping other people for whatever they need Kava and Kratom for.
That makes sense. And now, when you drink Kratom, do you add flavor to it, or do you drink it like without flavor?
It's a personal choice. I do it with what I like to do.
Yeah.
Depends on who makes it too. Sometimes
True.
you can have it natural, and I don't even need the flavoring. So it all depends on who's making it.
Now, what do you think about Kava? Do you love it?
Personally, I'm not a Kava drinker. I'm strictly Kratom. So my partner here, he's the Kava drinker.
Yeah, Kava's interesting because one of my favorite things about coming to Kava bars is seeing people that have no idea what Kava is, and then seeing like a bartender explain that it's from the Fiji Islands and whatnot, and then seeing their first face when they drink it, they make that face. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
It is hilarious. I mean, I'm a big Kava fan, and as you alluded to, it did come from Polynesia. They've been using it for thousands of years down there. In lieu, so Kava is really kind of a root. Kratom, is actually a tree, and they do different things. Kava gives you kind of more of a benzodiazepine effect, a little bit more of a, anti-anxiety kind of, just kind of a lubrication of, public speaking and things like that. It's just really kind of a nice mellow deal. And the only problem with Kava that I found is what you just said, is the taste. It tastes like it's a root. It comes from the dirt. That's what it tastes like.
I like the taste.
You like the taste?
It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
When you go to like the chill room and Frank the Kava OG makes it,
yeah, it's
really good. But if you go to other places where it's just some kid making it, if it's really watery, it's so bad.
No, that's a great point. And in fact, more Kava than Kratom. In fact, Kava is an art. Making Kava is an art, and Frank is amazing at that. I'll tell you that. But at Strange Cloudz, we have definitely perfected our Kava game as well. It's something that I'm very, very passionate about, and something that I want to start pushing a little bit more. It's a little bit more of a kind of a bar type scene with respect to like mixed drinks and things, all alcohol free, of course.
Yeah.
But with, Kava and Kava extracts. There is just a huge movement today in the United States, not just the United States, but globally, of folks just getting tired of alcohol. You hear sober experiences all the time online. You're starting to see things creep into, Facebook feeds and things like that about alternatives to alcohol that still kind of give you that social lubrication you're looking for, but don't have just the horrible side effects of alcohol.
What's annoying is if you make a post about Kava or Kratom, it gets shadow banned because Facebook puts some community standards thing.
Yes, yeah, the K word is definitely problematic in some places, and that's one of the stigmas that we're trying to break here.
Yeah.
South Florida specifically they call it the Mecca of Kava and Kratom because it is extremely popular down here. But even down here, less than half of you go walk around and talk to people, have you heard of Kava and Kratom? About half will say that they have. You leave the state and you're down around maybe 5 or 10%. The further you get away from here, it is still an untapped resource.
If you say it, it's always bad. If you leave,
yes.
If you leave Florida and you bring it up to people and they Google it,
yes.
I'm telling you right now, don't Google Kava and Kratom to anybody listening because it's all lies.
It absolutely is, and I'd like to kind of address that just a little bit. Please. Because, the articles that have been written on it, talking about overdoses and things like that, there are a lot of asterisks, so to speak, with those articles.
Yes.
There are a lot of the people that quote unquote overdosed had more than one chemical in their system, likely opiates as well. So to be able to just blame it on Kava and Kratom is really a misnomer, and it's disingenuous.
Every article, it'll end with, well, they also had ecstasy in their body, and they also had heroin in their body.
Right. So what I wanted to say about regulation, and we want more study, we want more regulation. I've been in the healthcare industry for quite some time, and I want to know if there is a problem with somebody, if somebody's taking a blood pressure medication or somebody's taking a diabetes medication. I'd want to know if there is some kind of side effect or if there's some kind of contraindication that I would be able to warn my customers about. This is something that I want. We want the responsible ones. We want regulation.
I agree.
And that is something that one thing that you hear about all the time is that it's the Wild West, is unregulated. Well, that is really not, the fault of responsible ownership. The fault of that is the government not really delving into this product very well and just using a blanket, I don't want to say a ban, but just kind of a blanket negativity when it comes to kava and kratom, instead of studying it, really understanding how it can be used beneficially for a lot of people like me that were addicted to alcohol. There are anecdotal evidence that people addicted to opiates have been helped by kava and kratom. And then, as my business partner just said, pain management. These are huge issues.
I think there needs to be a happy medium where kava bars and kratom bars say, hey, do you have this or this or this? You probably shouldn't drink it. And then I think there should be regulations by the government where they're more chill about it.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's too much of the Wild West right now, but I almost feel like it's better it being in the Wild West, because I don't like thinking about the government regulating it.
Right.
Because I don't know a lot about how the government and money works, but I feel like if the government were to be able to have more access to it, the media would be nicer to kratom. I think it's because you literally, one time, for example, I take Klonopin for my ADHD.
Sure.
And I was out of Klonopin, and it was going to take 2 days to get it. I took some green kratom and kava.
Uh-huh.
Same effect.
Same effect.
Not quite the same.
Right.
Because I try not to drink too much kratom. But literally, I was able to get through the day.
That's terrific. I mean, these are
same as an opioid.
Absolutely. And these are the reasons why I am so passionate about this product, is because so many people are addicted to opioids and alcohol, and these things we know 100%. Just look at, the DUI rates. Look at how many people alcohol kills every single year. We don't have any, even in the worst case scenario of some of the studies or the quote unquote studies that you read about with kava and kratom, the negative portion of that doesn't even come close to where alcohol is. Not even close.
And what I think is fascinating too is the people you meet at kava bars. I have met so many of my friends and so many mentors and connections and sponsors at kava bars. I go to a normal bar. I just meet drunk people that don't want to talk. But you can meet somebody who's recovering. You can meet a millionaire. You can meet a former NFL player. That's what I think is so beautiful about the kava and kratom community, is you never know who you're going to meet.
I think one of the things too is that it's not just the type of people, but the age range. A lot of people, because vaping for the most part is more of a younger generation kind of thing, and you kind of fall in line thinking that kava and kratom is as well. But you'd be amazed at the amount of people, young and old, of all ages, are into kava and kratom for various reasons.
How long have you been drinking kratom?
It's probably about 7 years now.
Oh, wow. I'm around 2018.
It's about 7 years, but I wasn't really an everyday user until about maybe 3-4 years ago. It was just a sporadic thing for me because, like I said, it just took me a little time to get off the pills and to stop using it and really just use this as a real effective means to get off, for pain management.
Pills make me nervous because I've been taking pills since I was 5 because I was a really hyper kid. My grandpa died in 98 and I was 5 years old, and I was like throwing a chair in the house because I was so mad because my grandpa was my best friend who lived with my mom and my dad for the last year and a half of his life. And I spent every second with my grandpa. And then I went through like this almost like 5-year-old crisis where I'm like, how can my best friend be gone? So my mom was panicking, and I don't want to say my mom got exploited. That sounds bad. But all the pathetic doctors in the 90s were like, here's lithium, here's Wellbutrin. They literally used me as a test rat since 98. And I take Klonopin and Lamictal for my ADHD and bipolar, and I'm fine with that. But I'm telling you, man, I don't really remember the last 20. I don't remember from 99 to about 2008 because I was on so many meds that it's just a blur. And that, to me, a lot of people talk about meds and they go, oh, it's good or whatever. There are some bad side effects to taking meds.
I mean, part of that is the doctor's fault. And I don't care what you're taking medication for, ADHD, diabetes, or whatever. But if you go to your doctor with any given problem, the first thing you're going to want to do is write you a script.
Of course.
That's the first thing they do. Instead of seeking, healthy, even if you're overweight, instead of working through you on your diet and nutrition and better ways to eat, the first thing they want to do is give you pills for it.
Ozempic.
So, I mean, pain management is the same thing. You go to your doctor for that. The first thing they want to do is give you an oxy script.
Yeah.
So,
it really is crazy because I just remember I was like 5 years old sitting in these chairs, and it was almost like my parents didn't know what to do. So you try to believe the doctor, you try to believe like that what they're doing is good, but I don't know. 90s was different. I don't think 5-year-olds are getting meds anymore.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, the pharmaceutical industry has just gotten out of control with the amount of medication that they're throwing at juveniles and children under 18. I mean, we could fill up a whole another 2 hours with that. I know, for sure.
Craziest thing, the best med I ever took was lithium in second grade. I was getting straight A's. I was reading book after book, but I was wetting my bed every night.
Really?
And my mom almost wanted me to begin wearing diapers because I was so good in school.
Right.
But I was never the same since then, and we had to get me off of it.
Wow.
And then Ambien, I had a psychotic breakdown on Ambien. I had a Simpsons poster in my room, and I thought Homer Simpson was talking to me.
No kidding.
I literally was watching Futurama with my dad in the living room, and I thought Bender and Fry and all the characters on the show were talking to me, and I went to lay down.
Right.
Ambien, don't take Ambien. Just take a sleeping gummy. Ambien's bad.
Well, and if it's happened to you, it's probably happened to hundreds of thousands of people.
It was scary.
Yeah.
I literally was tripping.
It's just not cool. I mean, there are alternative. Now, look, I can't say, that a Kava kratom treats or diagnoses any disease.
Of course not. Yeah.
But I can say what it's done for me. And what it's done for me is that it is absolutely helped me get off alcohol. It's helped me lose weight. That loss of weight has helped my cholesterol. That's helped my blood sugar. That's helped, a slew of issues. Just because, and you brought up the appetite suppressant effects that it has for you.
Yeah.
Just on your own. And honestly, I've had the same type of effect as well. So, the bottom line is I'd like to see more study, but I can tell you empirically, just from what I've experienced, what I've seen many, many other people experience is harm reduction. That's really what it is. Is anything 100% safe? No, nothing's 100% safe. You can overdose on water.
Literally,
you can drink enough water and you can overdose on it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the whole overdose, excuse just doesn't hold. It doesn't hold water.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's all about the concentration of the chemical in your blood. So yes, nothing is 100% safe. But what vape, kava, kratom, these things are harm reduction. These things aren't 100% safe, but they are absolutely reducing the possibility of harm that is caused by the analogs of alcohol, tobacco, and so forth. So, while nothing is totally safe, I'm a big believer in harm reduction, and I know for a fact, from my own numbers, I'm better off today than when I started drinking kava and kratom.
Oh yeah.
And I really want to share that with as many people as possible to really try to help. And not only that, but pharmaceutical solutions for this type of stuff. These things aren't cheap. Healthcare in this country is extremely expensive, and kava and kratom is an order of magnitude in terms of your pocketbook, better from that perspective. So, I don't want people to stop taking their medications. Please do what your doctors tell you to do, but certainly take a look at some alternatives that might be able to help you.
Now, how can people find you guys online and in person?
So you can find us online. You can Facebook us. We're at Strange Cloudz with a Z. So it's Strange Cloudz with a Z. You can find us on X. You can find us on Facebook. StrangeCloudz.com. You can find us on. And there are other things that we're going to be doing. Our grand opening is going to be coming up here pretty soon, so we're going to have a marketing push there. So you're going to start seeing Strange Cloudz,
Nice.
more and more. Shout out to Justin and all those guys, Marco and all those guys up at Palm Harbor. Tony, Dylan, Kane. These are just really wonderful people. And the biggest thing that you're going to see, and I've been to over a dozen Kava Kratom bars, as a part of my research to figure out how to get into this business. The difference that you'll find at Strange Cloudz is the people, the people that work there are passionate about the product.
Yeah.
They really are passionate about the brand. And we have some of the lowest turnover rate that you're going to see because we only hire people that are, our partners with us on our mission. And that really shows at Strange Cloudz.
And I haven't been there yet, but I'm definitely picking up the vibe that it's not going to be like high school drama because you go to some Kava bars and my goodness, it's like you're in high school again.
Oh boy, yeah,
the worst.
Yeah, you see that. I see that quite often, and it's really kind of a turn off for me because a lot of times you'll hear about the Kava community, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And that Kava community for me is painted with too broad a brush. It's people automatically think of Gen Zers that are just hanging around and just doing whatever they're doing as part of what their generation's next big thing is. That's really not what we're going for at Strange Cloudz. We don't want of course we want Gen Zers, but I want, the older faction of people too. There's a lot of pain in getting old. Trust me, I'm starting to learn this myself. And, if we can help with pain management, especially here in Florida with the senior population that we have, and we could break through some of these stigmas that are completely unfair, I really think a lot more people can be helped, and Strange Cloudz is a great place to start.
Well, Richard and Rich, it's been a lot of fun having you on the show. Can you believe it's been 32 minutes and 20 seconds?
That is hard to believe. The time has flown by. I could talk about this subject for a long, long time. I really love it.
What I should do, right now we're recording at the chill room of Pinellas Park, but I definitely want to bring the equipment and broadcast live from your shop.
Oh, you are absolutely welcome. I'm a huge fan of Hoppe Hour.
I appreciate that.
I absolutely love it. And, from the first time I've heard it and, we've talked about this before. You're one of the people that I've met at a Kava Kratom bar.
I know.
And this is exactly what we're talking about just the type of folks that you meet. Yeah. And, we'd love to have you over, man. We'll take care of you.
Keep up the good work. Thanks, guys.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour.
RyanHoppeRadio.com.
And like that, he's gone.
Happy Hour is now over.
Goodbye.